Hi there, and you're very welcome to our 9th episode of the Science Lesson Support System, suitable for primary school age from 6 up and right through to secondary to long life learners. In our last episode we covered non-living things such as geology and materials, and how these simple little resources can help add connectivity to all of your existing science lesson plans through overlapping topics and integration. So today we'll be covering living things and biology. So let's get started. For 9 episodes so far now, we've seen how atoms and molecules interact with or are responsible for solids, liquids, gases, reactions, geology, materials, sound, heat, hot things, cold things, electricity, magnetism, and all of the things that humans are aware of. But we are yet to see molecules do its best party trick yet. It can self-replicate, store, and pass on genetic information. Absolutely all life on our planet that is and has ever been, from the smallest form of life up to humans and up to the largest animals that ever existed, all share the exact same structure of DNA seen here. It's just stacked differently in various combinations that makes everything so individual and different. This molecule programs for not only the different variants of life, but for the height or hair or eye colour or structure and all the genetic makeup that makes us who we are. What you are looking at here is just a snippet of the universal DNA structure. And what's even more mind-blowing is that hundreds of billions of forms of life, over billions of years, are all made from just 6 types of elements. We can see them better here in our exploded model view, but don't worry, I won't be expecting you to build this today, but at the same time I hope you do. We have the white ones, which is the element hydrogen, the element oxygen, which is red, the element carbon, which is black, nitrogen is the blue one, and a special guest to our show today is phosphorus, which is the purple one. Now, phosphorus can be orange in some colour schemes, but we find the most common phosphorus balls when buying these little sets is purple. So for that reason alone, go Team Purple! And this magical complex molecule is held together simply by a watery-like bond called hydrogen bonds. We covered this in episode 3 under solids, liquids and gases, so be sure to check that out. All this shows the human relationship with the universe and with the environment around us, that we are all made of the same stuff. That though the law of conservation of mass means that every atom in our bodies came from the ground, or from the water, or from the air, all created in cosmic events, or the remnants of long dead stars. We are all made of star stuff, to quote Carl Sagan. Taking a look at other important molecules in our body, we find carbohydrates, fats, and this molecule here that builds proteins, reminding us that you are what you eat, so eat healthy. It's the fat molecule that's uncanny likeness to petrol. This is no coincidence because both of them are hydrocarbons. They both store energy. It's amazing the difference a few oxygen atoms can make. Okay, so let's do a fun classroom build and break out the nice guitar music. Humans breathe in oxygen and we exhale CO2. So today we are going to do respiration, and we're going to be making 2 molecules, and we're going to do a reaction with the 2 molecules. And one of the molecules we're going to be making is the fat molecule here. But as I often reiterate, we encourage you to use the longer electron connectors instead of the small ones. And I'll show you why that is. If you're to use the small ones in a classroom environment and then you go to take them apart, you're left with this one here, which is quite hard to get out. However, when you use the longer ones, you can pull these apart really easily and really quickly in a busy classroom environment. So for that reason, our fat molecule here is going to look like this. Now of course we don't expect every student to build this molecule, So we can build a small fat molecule by making it up as far as here. So this is all we're going to be making today, and we're going to call this a microfat molecule, if you will. But look, it'll get the point across. So all you need to make O2, of course, is 2 oxygen atoms, which are elements, the element oxygen. And when atoms come together and hold hands, they make a molecule, O2. And to make our microfat molecule, all we're going to need is 3 black carbon atoms, 2 oxygen atoms, which are red, 4 hydrogen atoms, which are the white ones, and 7 electron bonds. So we start off first by making a simple V shape with the black carbon one, and then add 2 black carbons each side of that. So now we have our spine. So now we'll start with the head, and just like a little pookie snail, you simply add on 2 connectors at the very top, and add on 2 oxygen atoms at the top of them. Then our little pookie snail gets a little antenna here on the top of this one here. We'll then add our remaining connectors at the very top of the spine. But don't be too particular about this, it doesn't have to look like this. As long as you build any little structure with some oxygens, some hydrogens and some black carbons, you've got something that resembles a sugar or a fat or a carbohydrate. So now we have our mini fat molecule, and we also have our oxygen. Looking back on our air display, most of the air is made of nitrogen, but of course we breathe O2. So we're all familiar with the term burning fat when you run, and it's actually what you do. We burn fat. And what happens inside our bodies is as we breathe while we're running, a reaction takes place where atoms and molecules swap parts. And what's going to happen, our oxygen, is it's going to break off like this, and it's going to take one of the carbons and you add it to the oxygens, and you get, let's look at our display and see what we made. We made CO2. Yes, as you know, humans breathe in oxygen and we exhale CO2, which is carbon dioxide. Because of the law of conservation, every single atom has to go somewhere and gets reused. So if you breathe in 2 atoms return. But you'll notice 2 atoms went in through our lungs, but 3 atoms came out as CO2. And we'd always wonder where the 3rd atom comes from. Where does the carbon come from? It comes from the fats and nutrients and carbohydrates that we burn as we do exercise. So every single atom in our bodies gets reused and is accounted for. And as our bodies grow and get bigger and bigger, every single atom in our bodies comes from the ground or the water or the air we breathe. And all of these atoms comes from dead stars and cosmic events. And all this happens inside our bodies to make our cells that make all of our skin and bones and hair and everything we are. But this doesn't just happen just for humans. Plants do something very similar too, as we know through photosynthesis. Although humans exhale CO2, plants breathe in CO2, and they also need water. And then what happens is a reaction happens inside the plant that takes all of these atoms and molecules apart and gives us back oxygen. So we are all united in nature by these little building blocks, because atoms are nature's Lego. It's the circle of life of atoms and molecules. So it's true what they say, you are what you eat. As always, just pause the video and remember the 4 basics and you'll be doing really good. And that's it for today. Next time we'll be taking a look at gravity and forces, the stuff you can't see but interacts with atoms and molecules. So don't miss it. So thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Paul Brereton, and remember, you're not just teaching STEM, you're telling a story, the true story of nature.